Hello, America and curling fans from Canada and Newfoundland. This is your host, Ryan Olson, bringing you the finals of the 2023 MoPac Arena Playdowns, the men's and women's championships. Rocks are in play with the first stone being delivered in the men's final between the top seeds from group play. Team Spangler was a top, excuse me, top, a top eight group. I'm about to sneeze, though. I'm trying to time the sneeze. They were undefeated through group play, and they won their playoff against Team Barrett. And the other team that was a group top was a top group play in the B group was Team Hurst from Oval Curling Club from Utah, the Utah Olympic Oval. So Hurst won the hammer and put in the rock into play. That may have been a slight slip from the lead there, Jerry St. James. We're also going to keep you up to date on the women's final, game two of a two-game final between Team Aces of Silicon Valley taking on Team Feldman of Wine Country Curling. Aces was undefeated through round robin play, a field of six teams, and they only needed to win one game to claim the championship, while Team Feldman needs to win two. So Team Feldman did her job, winning the first game in a very close fight. You can catch that game on YouTube. They won the first game, so that sets up this elimination game. The winner takes all for the championship. Team Aces from Team Feldman on our neighboring sheet. We will bring you that action when we can. We're going to do kind of around the rings coverage, as it were. This next rock coming from Jerry St. James. This is a young team. I think maybe surprised a few people in the field. They were seated 10th by their peers, but peer seating is a bit tricky and perhaps a bit subjective. So this looks to be a nice hit. Um, this seems to be indicative of how this early end is going to go, where trading hits back and forth, waiting to see who might make an error. No one wants to make a mistake, but it does happen. So this next stone coming from the second for Team Spangler, that would be pulling up my sheet here. That would be Brian Feldman Jr. So trading the hits back and forth, call us a top 40 station. We play so many hits here. And this, this to be going askew. So that is going to offer an opportunity for Team Spangler. I think they're going to try and draw around, kind of split the house up a little bit, and starts to set up a force for Team Hurst. So this is the next rock. Brian Feldman Sr.'s cleaning the draw path for his son. One of the cool things about this competition is that we have 10 men's teams and six women's teams. And just given the size of our regional field, we are large enough that USA Curling has awarded a second berth for both the men's and women's fields. And so that means both teams all four teams, the two men's and two women's teams will be advancing to the U.S. Arena National Championships the second weekend of November in at Curl Misabi. I want to get the community correct. Eveleth, Minnesota. As we see the rock coming from the second for Team Hurst, that is Gerard Trimberger. The team is named Team Hurst, and he's throwing fourth stones, but Ramin Gilbert is in the house calling the game and throwing third stones. So is able to do a hit in a small roll after Feldman Jr.'s second stone came up a little light as a guard. So now it looks like Spangler's looking to open things up a bit as his third gets into the hat, and that is going to be Chris Hillman, of course. I've broadcast games featuring both teams. It's just a matter of my uh, remembering people's names. So as I mentioned, Spangler went undefeated through group play and then knocked off Team Barent in the men's semifinal. In just a moment, let's recap how Team Hurst got into this championship final game. As Hillman's rock looks like it's going to hit the blue on the side, kind of nudge it over to the wing and out of play. So now the pendulum's kind of swung towards Hurst. Hurst could draw to the other side of the house, split the reins, and that is the call. As Jerry St. James, the lead, has the broom down for the skip, Ramin Gilbert. Ramin. Ramin was born and raised in Florida and spent most of his life thinking ice only came in cubes. And he moved to Utah in 2006 after college and started to take an interest in the sport while watching the Olympics that year. That would be the Turin Games or Torino, depending on who you ask. That was also the year that Schuster won the bronze medal with Team USA. So looks like it just kind of went to the side as a corner, and that allows Spangler. So the pendulum's kind of swinging back and forth. It's really interesting to see how the teams have not quite been able to assert their advantage here in the early part of the game. Chris Hillman gives his last. He's been curling for 20 plus years, starting at the Elmwood Curling Club in Winnipeg, Manitoba. That's up north, back in 1998. We do have a great mixture of more experienced and newer curlers. And in this case, Hillman was able to make that hit successfully. So the situation is Spangler sitting one in the biting the top eight there. You can see from the top of the screen from our overhead button cam view. And it looks like Jerry has the room set for a hit and roll. It's going to be interesting to see how this end unfolds. I wonder if I wonder if Gilbert and Team Hurst are looking for a blank here, if it's a possibility. So Gilbert's second shot is away. They're looking to hit it about maybe just to the left of the blue stone, but it's over curling. It's going to be a nose hit, maybe just past the face, and actually going to roll to the wing. And the blue shot stone goes out of play. So now Spangler has to kind of decide whether to make a play on that blue rock or just draw around the center and ignore it. They're going to make a play on that stone. This could set up something interesting, as we are now in skip stones. It looks like we're in skip stones on sheet two. Let's take a quick peek over there just to see how the action is going. Uh, it does appear to be that they are in skip stones, but there are no rocks in the house. Could be a potential blank being set up. So we'll keep an eye on that as we continue to cover the action. But returning to our feature sheet where we are also in skip stones, Cameron Spangler is getting set in the hat for his first of two without the hammer. Cameron's been curling for 10 years. This it looked like it was wide, but I remember they're trying to hit a stone that is wide. It's going to be a question to make sure it stays out there. And it looks pretty good, but is it going to roll towards the house? And I think that is, ooh, that is successful. Uh, I don't know if it's biting the 12 foot though. As I noted in other games, these cameras are not 1,000% accurate. The angles could be a little as such where it makes it hard to see where the rocks are precisely positioned on the ice. I think they're going to draw, but we will see what David Hurst has in mind as he gets set in the hat for his first. David Hurst has been curling just a couple years. These are, again, very young curlers for Team Hurst. Started curling after trying to sign up for bobsledding with the Utah Olympic Legacy Foundation, but they were sold out for the season. So he tried the next best thing, which was a learn to curl. And looks to be pretty good for him. Does get that blue out, so it's no longer a question if that blue was in the house or not. It's now gone, and yellow is sitting shot, but in the wings, kind of asking Cameron to do that takeout one more time, just like Britney Spears. That song, Take Me Out One More Time. Yep, everyone remembers the 90s unless you weren't born in the 90s and then you missed out. Too bad. I'm sorry. I've been doing this for 8 games, I think. It's been a great weekend, but sometimes my humor gets a little bit askew. But we hope uh, Cameron Spangler's last here is not askew without the hammer, making sure that the yellow goes away, hoping to roll towards the center to give Hurst something to hit or something to think about. This is looking pretty good. Going to hit it on the nose, and it's going to, I think, sit outside. Let's check the button cam. It is outside. And so that means Hurst has a shot for a blank. They're just going to throw it through. So this should be a pretty quick call as Hurst gets set in the hat. There's only one sweeper down there as he throws up weight. And that rock is going to go out just in front of the hog line. So it's a score of nothing. No one scores nothing. Hurst keeps the hammer as we go into the second end. Let's pop over to the women's game on sheet 3 just to see how they're doing. Just they're friendly neighbors. Hello, neighbor. Um, they are getting set to start their second end. Let me ask to the peanut gallery, of which there are some team members watching the game. So we have an update thanks to the peanut gallery. Team Feldman with the Red Rocks did not have the hammer against Team Asis of Silicon Valley, and they ended up stealing that first end. So Asis carries the hammer into the second end, looking to come back one down early in this game. So we're going to see some lead rocks coming from both the lead for Feldman and Team Aces. Sorry, I'm just juggling sheets of paper. The lead would be Lori Lunetta for Team Feldman, and the lead for Team Aces is kind of up in the air. They have a 5-person team, and they switch around. So it looks like the lead rock is away. And it looks like Feldman put up a center guard, but not on the center line. And it looks like I think uh, Aces maybe wanted to try to draw around or to put up a corner guard. The guard is successful. We're going to see the net stone coming now from lead Laura Lunetta for Feldman. Feldman's calling for sweep. I think just they just wanted to get over there. I think this is their lead, Jacqueline Pitlars, with the last of the lead stones in this end. So lots of guards. Something that is pretty indicative of arena play. It does happen in dedicated competitions. This is going to raise the yellow onto the center line. So Feldman would not be able to remove that center line guard until after this fifth stone. So while they're continuing to play out the end, let us return our attention to our feature sheet where Hurst was able to successfully blank the end. Looks like we're set to see the last of the lead stones, or actually, we're seeing the second stone coming from Brian Feldman Jr. Feldman was able to put up a center-ish guard, not on the center line, and it looks like Hurst. They may have traded some hits in the house, actually, just based on the rocks that are not in play currently. Looks like the hit and roll here is going to be pretty good, and that is a little covered, about 60% covered. So that was the last of the free guard or the center guard no tick rules. And so Hurst and Ramin can make a play on both of those blues in the house. And that seems to be what they're going to do as Gerard Trimberger is set in the hack. Gerard, uh, he has an epic poem of his experience, and I'll see if I can pull that up. But definitely keeping an eye on the action first and foremost. Going to get one. Is it going to get two? Nope. It scoots on by. Just to tease Gerard's biography, he knows that he is a, demigod forged in the molten pit from pure ice and solid granites. We'll revisit that in a moment as Brian Feldman Jr. gets set in the hack. Brian Feldman Jr. has been curling for 7 years. He's one of three Feldmans on the ice currently. So the whole family is going to book a family trip to northern Minnesota in November. Every family's dream there, which I think is this family's dream, especially because uh, national championships are on the line. So Brian Feldman Jr. has been curling for 7 years, including being at the MoPac Mixed Playdowns, finishing with a runner-up finish, which obviously is solid. So Jared's Gerard's last. He's descending from a long lineage of Celtic warriors. Gerard was raised as a mortal in the shadows of the mighty Mount Rainier. In the year 2019, Gerard established a formidable bastion nestled within the heart of Salt Lake City, a citadel that would serve as a beacon of his indomitable spirit. There's two more paragraphs of this. As they look to trade hits back and forth, uh, gets rid of the blue guard, that blue in the house. That shot stone is now open. And I think that I think that Spangler is going to put that guard back up. Chris Hillman, in addition to starting to learn to curl in Winnipeg, Manitoba, moved to California in 2015 and located the Wine Country Curling Club after buying a Christmas tree at a local tree lot. It's really great how people find their way to curling. I would have not thought that would be a path for people to find our great sport, but Chris Hillman did. And this looks to be a little heavy. It's going to probably go to the back of the house, and Ramin Gilbert's going to usher it from the premises. And it looks like it might be just kind of hanging on by a sliver on that back line. As a reminder, rocks had to fully cross the back line to be out of play. It's a second stone right now, so that means Gilbert's going to focus on the more important shot stone that's in the 8 foot as he makes his way to the house, the hack, pardon me. Ramin spends most of his time parenting 3 kids, showing them where to sweep, pointing them in the right direction, and breaking up fights over whose turn it is to throw. After leaving the ice, he goes home to his 3 more kids, ages 9, 7, and 5, who are much better behaved and way less exhausting. And what's not exhausting is when you make a shot, and it looks like he's able to do that takeout. Loses the shooter, though, and so that means Spangler is going to try and draw around that corner guard that Yellow has right now. Hillman's set in the hack. I do a little bit of a backswing. You don't see that too often these days. That's a pretty smooth release there. Looking for a draw around that corner guard. Hillman was a little heavy with his first, so I think he may be trying to dial the weight down slightly. Let's see if it's there. Looks pretty close. Maybe still a little on the upside in terms of weight, but it's sitting down really nicely right on the tee line. So great weight. Maybe didn't curl as much as they hoped, and so now that sets up a chance for Gilbert to hit and roll under the corner themselves. Uh, for everyone tuning in, thanks for being here. I hope you're enjoying the game, the competition, and hopefully my commentary is just adding a little scintilla of amusement to the proceedings. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll do my best to respond as I see them. And we see Gilbert do his last of the second end with the hammer. Again, looking for a hit and just a little roll. His last shot rolled out. This is pretty close. Uh, it's going to nose and actually roll towards the center. So, oops, not too bad. I say not too bad. It was about the shot. Definitely, you need to watch where the rocks go, as one of the blue stones got in the path of Spangler, and he had to kind of jump out of the way a little bit. So looks like Spangler's going to try that hit and roll again. They definitely want to make sure they hit it on the right side. Don't want to hit it on the nose or slightly to the left because that means that it could potentially jam on that blue and the back. Cameron Spangler's been curling for 10 years. As a fun fact, as he's wearing an orange sweatshirt, he has considered wearing a red sweatshirt, but is afraid nobody would recognize him if he isn't in orange. So this could be trouble. I think they're trying to coax it to the other side. I think it just oh no, it does jam. So that potential risk with that shot was realized, unfortunately, as the yellow ran back onto the blue in the back, and they just kind of traded who the second shot was, or they basically swapped positions on the ice, as it were. As we look at the overhead cam, that yellow is now definitely in the house as David Hurst gets set. And this is a relatively new team in terms of both being a team together and being a curling athlete. He has 2 years of experience curling, has traveled all over our region, MoPac, for several bonspiels. And he was here last weekend, getting some experience at the Golden Gate Bonspiel. So able to hit and rolls out though. So now, now the potential for a blank is on again as a Spangler is going to make a beeline for that yellow shot stone, that lonely yellow shot stone in the back of the house. So Spangler set, looking to hit and stick to give Hurst something to think about. With his last throwing some weight here, let's see it go down the ice. And this looks like it's there. It's going to hit and stick. And so now Hurst has to make a play on that. Well, he doesn't have to. He could draw for one, but if he wants to maintain the blank, he needs to hit and roll out. Uh, if he hits and sticks for one, that's not bad. It's I think you kind of give some credit to Cameron Spangler for forcing Hurst to one. But let us see what David Hurst has dialed up here with the hammer. Last stone, second end. It's like a pretty smooth delivery, just like a criminal. A smooth criminal. Hits and rolls out. So the blank is maintained. A pretty good competition so far. Hurst carries the hammer into the third end. The score is all tied, 0-0, as they basically get started right away with the third end. I just jumped to end. Let's take a peek at the neighboring sheet, the women's game between Team Aces of Silicon Valley taking on Team Feldman of One Country Curling. This is an interesting situation. Just to remind myself and the viewers, Feldman is playing with the red rocks. Asis is playing with the yellow, and there is a lot of red in that house for Team Feldman. This looks to be last rocks for this end. I don't know if it's the first or second. I guess I could count. Feldman has five red rocks on the field of play. It's hard to see which rocks are parked though, so it's definitely skip stones, and they're definitely looking to see what they could do to address the situation. Um, now the front end is maybe kind of relaying what they might be seeing down there. This is a very tricky situation for Asis. They had the hammer to start the game, but Feldman was able to steal a single in the first, as you can see in the scoreboard on the top of the screen. Uh, so Asis is definitely looking to either score a deuce or just somehow prevent Feldman from scoring again. They're talking about their options. The draw path is there for the full 4 foot. There's some center guards that could give Aces something to think about. That's Jennifer Aces. And Jennifer's got a bevy of experience, including four appearances at Arena Nationals, including winning bronze in 2019 as an alternate and coach, uh, attending in 2018 as a skip, and 2017 and 2015. The 2018 Arena Nationals were at our home club at the Utah Olympic Oval, so they have a special place in my heart. But we will see if Jennifer Asis can apply that bevy of experience that she has to solve this puzzle that is bedeviling her team in the second end. So the broom's down. I think they're looking to maybe hit the red on the inside and roll towards the center. Jennifer shots away. The sweepers are on it. I, it's hard to tell from this angle. The rock could be wide. They could be looking to raise one of the yellows. Ah, that is what they're trying to do. They're trying to raise one of the yellows at the center, and they need to make sure it gets to the 4 foot. It looks like it's there, and it's a single point for Asis, but a great job, a great shot there from the skip from Silicon Valley. That's why they're the championships, folks. Let's take a look back at our feature sheets as rocks are in play. Looks like Jerry St. James is throwing his last for Team Hurst. I think looking to take out that blue that got drawn into the house. And it's going to hit and roll towards the center. So it looks like play has been drawn into the house, and both teams are contented to trade hits back and forth for now, as we see the first stone coming from. As I switch the camera perspective, Brian Feldman Jr. His father plays the lead. I definitely hope to show some of his stones as this game progresses. Just looking to trade hits back and forth. And that looks to be there. It's going to hit and just roll an inch. And again, you can say that we're Taylor Swift. We're just playing the hits tonight. And it's a good defensive strategy for Spangler because it prevents Hurst from putting a lot of rocks into the house and have it increases the chances of having a multiple point end. Um, at some point, someone's going to need to stick for at least one or two. But I guess it's going to be whoever blinks first. The net stone coming from Gerard, who, through centuries of toil and anguish, the fires within Gerard's heart endured, but what did not endure was the stone it missed. So, story time's over. Back to the game. This now creates the opportunity for Spangler to split the rings, and now the pressure's on Hurst here. Shots away, looking to draw to the right from this view. It's going to be the left in a second with the counterclockwise rotation. It needs to be in the house. It would be ideal if it was above the tee line, so then Hurst can't throw something on top of it. This is looking pretty good. The sweepers are coaxing it. It's going to settle in at the top of the 12 foot. As we switch to the Manitoba Mutton Manufacturers of America button cam, you can see here they are not sponsoring this camera view. I just chose it because mutton rhymes with button, and button, of course, being the center of the pin. It looks like I think they're going to try and hit and roll, or they might be trying to draw around. I think that might be the shot to draw around. Teams are seeing about 2.5 to 3 feet of curl this weekend. It's stayed fairly consistent, although some paths and some deliveries have some uh, variations, of course. That's the game. This looks to be maybe coming up a little on the light side. The sweepers are definitely encouraging it. This could end up being a center guard, and it's not curling as much as I thought it was going to. Ends up being a centerish guard, not on the center line. And so Spangler is going to want to draw around that guard that was just put up and basically have a chance to be sitting three, as you can see through this overhead. I believe Chris Hillman's getting set to deliver from the hack. So Spangler has a chance to put another one in and really turn up the pressure against Team Hurst. Another nice, gentle release there from Hillman. This looks pretty nice. It's going to curl around that dart that was just put up and settle in behind the tee line, back four. So it does give Hurst some backing to draw to, but it's definitely narrowing the scoring area. And so Spangler is definitely doing his job with a stout defense here in the third end. So Jerry St. James has the broom down for Ramin Gilbert to, I think, draw down to it. I don't think the hit's in action here with his delivery broom on the ice. Here comes Gilbert. This looks pretty good. Maybe a little upweight. The sweepers are not brushing it. Now they jump on it. I think once it's around the guard, they're going to be happy. Hurst is trying to coach it over a little bit more. It's going to settle just behind the tee line in front of that blue Spangler stone. And so some fist bumps exchanged by Team Hurst as Cameron looks to follow them down. This is going to be how quickly this ed has changed. It went from playing the hits to drawing. So definitely get your arts and sciences here whenever you visit a curling sheet. Because curling is both an art and a science. One of the fun things about this game. As Hillman makes his second here, Hillman's delivery is unique for this era because very few curlers learn or do the back swing, where you lift the stone as you pull back, lift it upright. So, but it's been working for him so far this game, and just wow, a beauty shot there, trading draws back and forth, and so now it is Spangler sitting one, three, four, and five, and Hurst has that lonely yellow. It's pretty well covered, but how does Hurst move that Spangler stone off of the button? The squad's talking about it there. The It's tricky. I think it's a little exposed, so I think if they hit it on the side, they could kind of scoot it past the yellow, and then have the shooter yellow roll open on the right side. So it's going to be a tricky situation. You can see it's about 80% open, but you don't want to hit it on on the nose, and you don't want to hit it too much on the right side because it could jam on that yellow stone. So this is what Gilbert has. He's got the weight. Does he have the line and the shot here? So they're looking very closely at the line. The sweepers are on it. So again, they just want to hit it either right on the side or they want to hit it on the nose once it crosses the face there. It's going to hit it. Okay. So it kind of creates a bit of a conga line there. I think it's pretty close to what they called. Uh, I guess they weren't trying to look for a high heat there, and that makes sense. And so now there's a bit of a traffic jam around the house. That blue that got pushed onto the Hurst yellow is going to be next to impossible to remove. So now I think Spangler is probably going to look to close the door and be in a position to steal here in the third end. It's possible there's like just a little bit of wiggle room, as you can tell from this view. If you were able to tap that yellow up or move that yellow up or draw the button, there's a little bit of space where the pin is to score one, but that just amps up the difficulty to 1,000. So Cameron Spangler gets set in the hack, looking for a draw. I think a guard, or if he does go into the house, keep it towards the top. Lights the miss. And you also don't want to create a situation where there's an angle for Hurst to kind of deflect onto the stones in the button area. And this is a guard. And so now the shoes on the other foot for Team Hurst. Again, it's going to be really hard to dislodge that blue. I mean, there's a Kevin Cooey style shot where if you were to run that blue that's in the reddish panel, kind of run it at an angle towards the blue that's on the button, and then you can get both of those to go like to kind of blink or wick off of each other and roll wide. That's a possible shot. But again, that's a Kevin Cooey shot, and last time I checked, he's not here, and he's not eligible to play in the U.S. national competition. So. Although if you wanted to, we'd be happy to have him. I don't know if you'd want to come down here. I mean, for a national championship like this, or a qualifier for a national championship, to be even more precise. So, David Hurst facing a traffic jam in the center of the house, looking to move some granite. I think at the very least, clear some of these guards. He's going to get one. Oh, this looks pretty good. Ooh, okay. That definitely drew a reaction from the audience in the warm room. Definitely unlocked things, so that definitely creates some possibilities now. So I definitely would count that as a good shot for Team Hurst. As it looks like there's a draw path to the blue on the button there, and also it looks like Team Hurst is sitting 2, 3, and 4, and so if that Spangler shot stone goes away, that multiple point end that Hurst has been looking for these past three ends could be realized. So now Spangler is looking to see what he can do to take away the hardest, take away the easiest shots, leave Hurst the harder shots, because there are now multiple paths to that shot stone. There's the draw path, as I mentioned, or the takeout path down the center line. You can see it pretty nicely from this view. You can also angle the yellow that's next to in the O of Ohlone land or Ohlone. So some tough decision for Cameron Spangler to make here with his last, and indeed it is his last here. So it looks like a guard just based on the path and the weight of the release. The sweepers are on it. I think definitely making sure that it has the weight to get into place. So it's definitely trying to go over the hog line, and once it did, they were off to let it curl to a finish, and that looks like a great shot to really take away the easiest shot for Team Hurst. And so now, uh, just like I drew it up, they're going to try the angle raise takeout. Uh, there is danger there. There is danger, as you can see, just based on the angle. If they hit the yellow that's in Ohlone, uh, run it back onto the blue, they could hit it at an angle that could jam the blue onto the yellow, but still, it could be a shot for one or two or maybe three, depending on how it goes. So a very crucial shot coming now from David Hurst. Uh, I was looking at the angle raise. They're looking at a different raise, and this raise is straighter, which I think is why they chose it. And kudos for them for spotting it before I did. Uh, So they're going to look for it's a longer distance. That might be why I wasn't looking at it very closely. They're looking to long angle raise that yellow onto blue, and that seems to be the shot there as Gilbert has the broom down. Still a crucial shot for three. Here we go. Shots away, looking at the broom. It looks pretty close. The sweepers are just cleaning. Now, Jerry's on it. Is it going to be there? It's super close. It clips it. Oh, wow. So mission accomplished. And definitely two. It could be three. It looks like three from the overhead. But again, the overhead camera doesn't tell the whole truth. So it looks like we might have a measure happening on the feature sheet. Our head ice official for the weekend, Kevin Jorgensen from Silicon Valley and San Francisco Bay Area, is making his way to the ice to help with the process. So very, very big measure here. And also a big shot for Team Hurst, David Hurst, uh, waiting for that multiple point end, and they got it here in this third end. Definitely getting two and looking to see if they have that three in hand here. Uh, Looking over at sheet three just to keep you updated with that. It looks like they are throwing close to the end of the third end themselves. Let's take a look at the measure here happening now. So blue is measured, and so as they swing around. It's a long walk when you have to like kind of frog walk here. It looks yellow, but let's see what the measurement says. And indeed, it is yellow. So that is a big three for Team Hurst to open up the scoring here. And that's not a new thing for Team Hurst in this tournament. They are living and dying by the big ends here. Definitely more living as Hurst puts up that three spot there. Uh, in the semifinal, they opened up the scoring for them with a sixth spot against Team Waddington of Orange County Curling. And Waddington did not throw in the towel. They hanged tough, and they were able to draw within one. But then Hurst finished in the seventh end with a three spot and then ran a Waddington out of stones. So that's a great performance, multiple point ends there. The YouTube comment crowd goes wild and definitely appreciated. So let's shift to sheet three, not sheet four. It looks like uh, they're about. Looks like sheet. Sorry, looks like end three was a blank, and they are in the middle of their vice stones for. No, this is the end of the second stones. So let's keep an eye on this for just a couple minutes, see how this end might be developing. So they're trading hits back and forth. It's a tie game. Team Feldman of Wine Country is playing with the Red Rocks here. Team Asis of Silicon Valley is playing with the Yellows. And Feldman's able to get rid of the Aces shot stone, but they lose the shooter. So it's a totally blank house. It's a whole new ball game for the, pardon me, the alternate for uh, Team Aces. It's she's second, third. They're a five-person team, so to call them an alternate is not entirely accurate. This is second or third, Kathleen Elsmeyer. She started curling just over a year ago. It's again, it's been awesome to see curlers of all these levels of experience uh, making their shots here. This is looking to go a little deep, and it might be going out of play. So it's an open house. I was sitting down in the back. I counted my chickens before they hatched. But let's switch back to our feature game. We'll definitely keep you updated on this women's game, this pivotal do or die. Winner gets the title. The loser goes home, followed by the winner because we can't live here as much as people would like to live at a curling club. I don't know if people would want to live at a curling club. Uh, I know I would, especially in the summertime. I don't have air conditioning at my apartment. It'd be nice to be in a curling club where, the ice house is 40 degrees and the warm room is not. So this is Brian Feldman, the senior Brian Feldman's second stone, I believe. Brian Feldman's the elder Brian Feldman has been curling for 9 years. His finishes include being the mixed doubles champion in 2019 for MoPac, being at Arena Nationals, winning bronze once and quarterfinals 3 times, and also reaching the semifinals of the club men's playdowns for MoPac. So, kind of a it's kind of an open house. There's rocks in play, so there's definitely stones for both Hurst and Spangler to play to. As Gerard Trimberger gets set, or is looking for the shot. Uh, Gilbert has the broom down. I would think. I think they're going to try and split the reins. I would think they would possibly try to get rid of the blue and just keep an open house. And actually, I think that might be what they're trying to do, just based on the weight here. Where Gilbert had the broom kind of tricked me a little bit, and this needs to hold on for contact, and it will make contact, and scoop by the yellow, and now Hurst is sitting two. So now Spangler is chasing here, down three in the fourth end. We're playing eight ends, up to eight ends of regulation. Curling being the great sport that it is, you can decide to concede the game early if you feel that it's over. I'm sure some Denver Bronco fans may have wanted the Broncos to do that last weekend when they were losing by 50 points, but they had to play it out. And also in a situation like this, with a championship on the line, they might be playing it out. To Trevor in the comments, have a safe trip home, and I'll see you back in Utah. There's a time delay, so he may have stopped the broadcast. Spangler's hit there. Uh, Mission accomplished. Got rid of the Hurst Stone and rolled to the wings to possibly draw behind later in the end to generate multiple points. So think I think they're going to do a soft weight takeout, like a gentle hit and roll, perhaps might be the call here for Gerard. In the fateful March of 2022, Gerard, driven by an insatiable thirst for retribution, cast aside his axe and shield. In their stead, he dressed broom and stone, transforming the battlefield into a frozen expanse. Okay, he's going for a draw here. All right, so kind of wasn't a freeze. It kind of creates some separation, and it could. Uh, it definitely gives Spangler an opportunity here to draw on top of it and draw to it with Brian Feldman's next stone. Brian Feldman, I would hope he has an epic poem in his back pocket at one point. He has a fun fact. He was featured on a curling club billboard during the 2018 Olympics, which is known in the curling world as the big one. It was a transformative year for curling in the U.S. as Team Schuster, skipped by John Schuster, won gold in Pyeongchang, and that draw, beautiful there from Brian Feldman Jr. To outcount those two yellow Hurst stones. and it's going to be interesting to see what Hurst does to respond. And I think the response is to kind of, as you can see here, where the room is positioned. I think they want to do a draw to kind of, uh, I think, draw on top of it. I think if they were to kick it to the side a little bit, that's fine. But I don't think they want to run it even further back into that pile because that would be a not a great outcome. They set us a little inside, which is not too bad. It needs to curl up a little bit. Actually, it's looking really good, I think. Because, like I said, if it just kisses it to the side a little bit, that's not the bad thing. Okay. I was hoping that it would maybe hit it to the side. I say hope. I want both teams to do well. Hurst is from my home club, but I've definitely seen both teams on the circuit before, so I definitely want both teams to do well. And so for Hurst, not a bad outcome. It does kind of drive that blue back into the pile, so that blue is not going to go anywhere without a lot of weight or like a really tricky shot through the port that is between the blue and the yellows. To the left of this view, so they're talking over their options from 140 feet away, which is another great thing about the sport. You don't see in baseball the pitcher yelling at the catcher or vice versa. I mean, they have hand signals, and some curlers do have hand signals as well. But let's see what Spangler is asking his vice Hillman to do. I think looking to I think they're just trying to draw on top of the yellow. I think this is turned into a drawing game, just as suddenly as the first part of the game was a hit game. This is a draw game, but it's also important to be able to do both. Oh, so I don't think the best outcome for Spangler. Not too bad. It does give Spangler another stone in the house and some opportunities. Um, but Hurst is now sitting shot, and they're looking at hitting that blue that was just put in the house and rolling to the wing to kind of create a split house situation so that Spangler can't get both out at the same time. They're looking it over, and like a hit and roll is, I think, not a bad call, especially because it would get rid of one of the blue counters and roll to the 4 foot. Um, it's slightly tricky. And also, sorry, I'm just thinking of all the permutations. Uh, the alternative would probably be to draw to the 4 foot. You don't want to set up a situation where Spangler has a double and a chance to score multiple. So I think getting rid of the blue would be the priority, and then rolling to the wing would be a good ancillary benefit. Ramin Gilbert gets set in the hack. He he has some braggaggio in his bio. After just 1.5 years of curling, he's revolutionizing the game with seemingly impossible shots like the double curl, which I'll explain in just a moment. This is over curling a little bit. I think they're looking for a plan B. They're looking to hold the line, and that's probably not the outcome they were looking for. According to Ramin, the double curl starts as an in turn and then ends as an out turn, made possible by his endless dedication to mastering the sport, his desire to push the envelope of what's considered possible, and probably most importantly, an arena sheet riddled with 16 different Zamboni tracks. It's nice for people to be able to kind of laugh at themselves. So it looks like Spangler wants Hillman to draw on top of that yellow. So that was kind of the downside of that last shot from Gilbert is if it missed, it that does kind of create an opportunity for Spangler there. Someone in the comments, Dan Stephanie, noted that Gilbert did use that double curl in his game against him. All right, let's see if Hillman's got the shot here. This looks pretty close. And beautiful shot there from Chris Hillman. So looking at how these men's teams reached this final game, uh, Team Hurst was in the B group, and they went 3-1. Uh, one second. Oh, Dan said he used it against Ramin. All right. Way to turn the tables there, Dan. All right. So Gilbert's got the broom down for David in his first of two stones without the hammer. Team Hurst, they started against Team Malloret of the Oval Curling Club, a club on club contest. Then he also defeated Dan Stephanie in the group play there. This looks like it's going to tap one of the blues and roll towards the center. So kind of narrows the scoring area. Not a bad shot. So he won two. Then he dropped a game against Silicon Valley's Lazarowicz. That was definitely a game that Hurst was not on for, as it were. But they bounced back with wins against Barnes from Orange County and Waddington of Orange County. And that was the semifinal game because now we're in the final. That semifinal game again, after Waddington stole the first and Hurst responded with a six end in the second, and then kind of held on as Waddington put up four singles in a row, and then Hurst was finally able to convert the hammer with three in the seventh to win that game 9-5. So this is a messy house. Uh, the whole team for Team Spangler is down, looking at their options. Let's look at the overhead just to confirm it's a messy house. My mom would be complaining right now. Spangler is sitting one. Definitely looking to see how they can get two here halfway through the game. They're looking to try and like maybe move some of these rocks around. I wonder if they could just maybe put they just put a blue like in the top 4 foot, uh, so they'd be sitting two. That does there's no double possibility because the blue that's scoring would jam against the yellow. I kind of make Gilbert, make Hurst you know, trying to take out their own stone. There's a lot of angles here. Um, Also, if they corner freeze to their shot stone, then Hurst has to make a play on it or be content to see the deuce. And so that draws the play to that side, and that means that that side is the bottom side for this view is open for two or maybe three, depending on how the rocks shake out. Um, Again, I don't really think there's a double there if they were to draw to the 4 foot towards where the pile is. But they're looking at this uh, angle double raise run back to try and take out that Hurst second shot. And if they make it, that could be big for them because then it'd be sitting definitely two, maybe more. So Cameron made his way back down to the house, the hack, and this is going to be a very important shot. He's going to need a lot of weights to make these rocks move, and this is a very tricky shot because the rocks very rarely end where you think they're going to end unless you've mapped all the angles, and I haven't determined where they might end up. It's going to be pretty tricky. Here's a high risk shot for Cameron Spangler. Let's see if the reward is in the cards. Weight looks like normal. So I think it's going to hit one of the yellows. onto the blue, and that blue is done just squirting into the 8 foot. So that was one of the risks is that again you threw into the pile, and depending on where it went, all the angles are hard to see where they might go. So now Hurst is sitting one, maybe two, looks like two to the right of where Gilbert is there. Um, so now they can look to maybe put up a guard. I say a guard, a rock in the 8 foot that would essentially serve the purpose of guarding the shot stone. I don't know what you guys think about who's second shot. I definitely think it's yellow, but you can make an argument for that blue on the bottom right there. So they're talking about it. Trimberger makes his way to the blue line. These games are not being timed. Timing is a key element of national level competitions. However, this is our first year doing arena playdowns, and so I just wanted to make sure, as I'm on the organizing committee, I wanted to help make sure that this event went as smoothly as possible, and we opted to forego timing just for this year, and we hope to bring it back in years to come because this event was a big success, I hope, and hopefully we can continue it to be successful in the years to come. And I'm sure Hurst is looking for some success here with his last rock, saying some success in quick succession is hard to say sometimes. Also working my sibilance, uh, David calls them off. It does look to be a little on the heavy side. They want to keep it high. A guard is not the bad, not the worst outcome, and it does turn out to be a guard biting the 12 foot there. And so, mission accomplished. However, because of all the time that Team Spangler spent looking at all the angles, they do now have an angle raise to run the blue onto the yellow and potentially score one there. And it's going to be a tough shot for one. I mean, they could. I'm curious to see how they can get two here. They can draw the button for one. That's the safe shot. That's the low risk shot, high reward in terms of just guaranteeing 1 point to start scoring in this game. This angle run back takeout. They run the blue onto yellow. That blue is going to be in the 8 foot. I mean, there's a chance it could roll into the 4 foot, which would be the best outcome. They could potentially get four here if I'm looking at the angles correctly. Because if they run the blue onto the yellow and they hit the yellow close to the center of the yellow, that would kick the yellow back to the other yellow and get them both moving. And then it could bring those other blues into the 8 foot into play. That is a tricky shot. Uh, Chris Hillman's got the broom down for his skip. Again, looking high risk, high reward. Team Hurst is sitting one, maybe two here. And so this is going to be a game changer if Spangler were able to make this shot here with a hammer in the fourth. Looks like some good weight. The release looks on target. Sweepers are on it, looking, making sure it stays on line. This looks like it's curling, over curling. Okay, wow. uh, so it does what it sought out to do. I wish I could see a replay there because it looks to be at least three there. Wow, because I think I don't know how it happened honestly, because it looked like it was close to hitting the yellow, but it did hit the blue, and it kind of hit the yellow at an angle to the point where it was able to push those that back yellow out of the way. This could be four, maybe five. Definitely wait to see what score they put up, and some high fives all around for Team Spangler. That was a great outcome, and all of a sudden, just like that, we have ourselves a ball game. And so now Hurst has the hammer again. We'll definitely wait to see what score they put up before I update it or see what Bonspieler has. We are keeping track of live scores at bonspieler.com. We're going to shift to, oh, it was four. Goodness for Spangler. Goodness in more ways than one. It was a good shot. It was a good outcome, and that's a good score of four. And they take the lead. That was a game changer. Let's take a peek at sheet three, where the women's final is underway, game two. It's obviously an elimination game. The first game was not. Um, Feldman had to win twice to win the championship. Uh, Team Asis from Silicon Valley with the Yellow Rods had to win one, and so Feldman won the first game, and so now it is a winner take all second game here, as it looks like Aces is throwing her first stone, and after blanking the third, and Feldman scored a single to go up 2-1 over Aces, a very close fought battle. Only singles so far in this women's contest. And it looks like it wrecked on the guard. Well, actually, they spilled both yellows in the house. So that was a great shot there. I think that's what they were calling for. So the games are not timed, but you can see in the background of the bottom frame here, there is a countdown clock. It's a timer essentially to kind of remind the teams of how much time is allotted for the game and to encourage them to play in a timely fashion. This is a championship game, so teams might be doing a little bit more strategizing than they would if it was a simple group or round robin play game. But there's no penalty if they run out of time. The worst thing that can happen is our head ice official, Kevin, will go out on the ice, kind of look at his watch, and just kind of sigh with exasperation. And so for Feldman, I think it's just looking to draw around. This is Feldman's last. They don't have the hammer, so they're looking to be sitting shot to prevent Aces from scoring multiple points. This looks to be a little. Oh, it crashes on the yellow, but is spinning towards the house, but it needs to sit down. These Vice for Aces sweeps it out of play. So now the door is wide open for Aces to score three here. This is the first multiple point end for the women's final for either women's team. All they need to do is touch paint to score three. So a great outcome for Team Aces. I imagine that's how they drew it up. Someone in the comments noted that Kevin has a pretty good death stare on him, so I don't doubt it. So here we go. A shot for three. Two in hand. Here's another one coming down the line. Sweepers seem happy with it. They're not touching it. Looks like Alsmeyer is just cleaning. Need to make sure it doesn't wreck on the red up top. So around the red, it needs to sit down now. And so this seems to be kind of the pitfall of some teams, but it is sitting down. Is it going to sit? It sits for three. So that is a great end there for Jennifer Aces. Count them up. One, two, three. They retake the lead. It is 4-2 in favor of Aces on sheet four. Let's kind of catch up on the other sheets. The men's championship game here. Rocks are in play. A lot of guards, and I think one Spangler stone has made it into the house now. Looks like every rock that's been thrown so far has been has stuck around. And checking the overhead here, that is a true fact. So Steph Spangler sitting one, and I think Ramin wants to hit and roll, or at least a nose hit. So Hurst is swooping to hold line. Looks like it's going to hit the blue, so it's going to be important that it gets at least one of these blues out of play, and it does. Now looking at the overhead, it's still one shot Spangler and covered. There's two corner guards that Hurst could make use of if the end develops a certain way. But for right now, it looks like Spangler's asking Brian Feldman Jr. to draw around that center cover. So shots away. This looks to be, I said a little heavy, but it's not. It's going to actually crash on the guard. Spill that guard that was there to the top 12 foot, and the shooter also rolls, it looks like, for a piece of the house. So Spangler is sitting three, I believe, but they are all in the top of the house, like on the wing, like on the fringe. So it could be easy to outdraw them if and when it comes to it. But right now, I think Gilbert wants Gerard to do some cleanup action here. One interesting thing is that I think most of the men's curlers in this event are using their brooms for delivery. So gets both blues moving. Gets one to the back of the house. Looks like it's out of play. So and opens things up. So that was a great shot there from Gerard. And you can hear some enthusiastic skipping from I believe Katie Feldman on the feet. I enjoy that aspect of the game. So I think Spangler wants Chris Hillman to draw, maybe to guard or to tap back. So this looks more like a guard, just kind of based on the swoopers having to dig in to make sure it gets over the line. And it's going to be in the two zone, I believe. I think it got enough to the two zone. Uh, the curling sheet, as many people know, is divided into tenths under like the zone system. And oh, there's no audio. I can hear them. Okay. Well, I apologize. I don't know if I can fix that for this game. The mics are very quiet on the ice. One of the improvements that the Golden Gate San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club is looking at is upgrading the on ice microphones. So when we come back in January for mixed playdowns for MoPac, I think we might be able to hear some more great on ice sounds. And again, thank you to San Francisco Bay Area Curling for helping with the venue. It's their venue for hosting, and also, uh, you know, providing this great camera setup that we're able to jump on and basically do a broadcast like this with very minimal setup on our part. We definitely appreciate it. Huge thanks to Tony, who leads that broadcast initiative for the Bay Area Club. So the shot coming for Ramin. I think looking to, I think they were hoping to run the yellow onto blue, and it wasn't there. And so now Spangler sitting two is looking to block off the paths to the center. Hurst has the hammer. There's not really a blank opportunity in the offing. It can still happen. And also, it's a good note that you can't hear the on ice because if you can't hear Katie Feldman doing her skipping, then you're not hearing anything coming off the ice. So it looks like Hillman is going to try the guard again or try another guard. And this looks pretty much like a guard. This is in the one zone. So as I was noting, the under the zone system, there's 10 lines that you can picture on the ice. The guard zone is divided into thirds. From the blue hot line, it's one, two, and then three by the house. And then once you get into the house, the top of the 12 foot is four. The top of the 8 foot is five. The top of the 4 foot is six, and then the T line is seven, and then eight, nine, and 10 at the back line. So that's how a lot of teams look to kind of determine where their stone might be going on the ice. So if you're new to curling broadcasting, if you can hear the players, shout out like seven or three or 10, that's where they think the stone is going to end up in the playing area. Three again being the top of the house, seven the T line, the center of the house, and 10 the back line. So I think they're going to try a double here. It's going to be a thin double. They got one, and it's going to roll over and just roll on top of the second blue stone. So they get rid of one, helps improve the situation. Was a good effort. Looking at sheet three, it looks like they're close to the end of the vice stone, so we'll keep an eye on that situation. Uh, for our feature sheet, Spangler sitting one buried, and I think they're looking to just close the door there as Cameron makes his way back down the ice. Cameron's wealth of experience curling in terms of finishes include a bronze at Arena Nationals and quarterfinals three times, and reaching the quarterfinals of the MoPac Club Men's Playdowns twice. So I think looking to guard or maybe draw on top of the blue that's already in the house. This is Cameron Spangler's first without the hammer here in the fifth. Weight looks a little up. I've been saying that a lot though. So this actually was pretty solid weight. There's the potential double there again, and I think that's what Ramin and Jerry are looking at as Dave comes back to offer his input. One thing about curling is that it's a great deliberatory sport in terms of deliberating about which shots to take. But sometimes too many cooks can spoil the soup, and so a lot of times the front end stays back to let the back end the vice skip and the skip kind of talk it out, and then if the front end's input is necessary, usually one person at the front end comes forward as kind of a tiebreaker because three it's really hard to have a tie when three people are involved. I won't say it's impossible. So the broom is down. I think they're going to try that double. As we are now to the first of two skipstones for David Hurst. Talking about people delivering methods, David does use the stabilizer, and a lot of times it's whatever works best for the circumstance. If you're comfortable with the broom, go with the broom. If you know the stabilizer, stabilizer. Although I do have to say that using the broom definitely forces you to maintain your balance, and balance is one of the fundamental elements of a curling delivery. And let's see if the fundamentals come to play here. Trying for the double. He's going to get one, and it's going to scoot past the second rock. So now I think Spangler can try the same shot again and sit two, and just really amp up the pressure on Hurst to score just one. Because even if Spangler puts the rock back, there are a couple run back opportunities on the top of the house, the right side, depending on how you view it. And so it looks like Hillman has the broom down to do the same shot that Spangler just threw. So Spangler gets set in the hack. Again, talking about the fundamentals of curling delivery, he made sure that his body and the curling stone are aligned towards the target, that being Chris Hillman's broom. And now the other essential element is the release, the curl, and that looks pretty nice on his release here. Let's see what they have dialed up with Spangler's last here in the fifth without hammer. This looks like it's going to be a little on the light side, which again is not a bad outcome. It just prevents uh, Hurst from making a play on that shot stone from that side. I can't say there's not a shot on the a shot on the shot stone, which is also fun to say 5 times fast. Uh, so now they're looking at their options. They could try and draw down the path that everyone's been down. They could also do the raise. There's also a bit of a port on the right side from this view. Let's look at the overhead. That's kind of where they're leaning towards is the right or top view from this view angle. But they've discussed it and decided that they're going to try and draw on the right side, the bottom, or the left side when we switch to the head-on. So this is going to be a little tricky because it has to get around that guard that Spangler just put up. So again, the elements of the curling delivery are alignment, balance, and curl. So he's aligned to the target. He's going to be balanced on a stabilizer, and the curl is going to be in the release. And there we go. Let's see if those three elements come together for a shot, a scoring shot here for Team Hurst. This looks to be maybe a little light. I don't say that very often. Actually, it looked good in terms of weight, but it's going to wick off of the guards on the left, unfortunately. So it's going to be a steal of one. Spangler extends his lead. It's 5-3 headed into the sixth end. While they get reset, let's take a look at our women's game on sheet three. What a messy house. Here we are coming down to last rocks. This is appears to be Jennifer Asis's last, and they are second shot, but Feldman is sitting one, down two here in the sixth end. So it's going to be interesting to see if Feldman could get two here. I think Asis is going to put up a guard on the left side of the house uh, to make it impossible for Feldman to run back that side. And that seems to be the case. And so the other possibility for Feldman is to maybe angle raise the red on the right. You can see it's over the rainbow. The ice speed is going to be tricky there, and there is potential for wrecking on the red if the shot's not made. But that's what they're looking at. They're looking at the angle raise. Um, there's a tricky on the center line. You can see. I think it's one of the Feldman players was looking at maybe running the yellow on the center line onto the red, and then have the red go towards the center of the house. Um, Not a bad possibility. Although if you hit it wrong, the yellow could be yellow into yellow, and the yellow could go into the house. So the broom's down. I think there's a port there that they're going to try and draw through. That's that looks like probably the best possibility for the least amount of risk there. Um, so kind of start out you can be a little wide and scoop past that yellow and then sweep to make sure it gets to the 4 foot. But otherwise, it looks like a pretty good draw to the button. And this is what teams practice for. A lot of teams practice the draw to the button because it's super important for the what we call draw shot challenge to determine who starts and who goes last in the game. And then also, for situations like this where you might need to draw to the button for the win. This isn't for the win, but this is for the tie to kind of reset the game once again. This looks like it's pretty close. It might be a little tight. It's around, so now they're going to stop. And oh, this is the potential downside there, but not going to cause any damage. But just unfortunately, not the result. Um, the weight it was a little heavy, obviously, just based on where it ended up. But it was the good weight. It was the right weight for that line. However, maybe a little more ice. Then Feldman could have thrown a little bit less. And so then it would have been able to settle in the top of the 4 foot. This is a single for Feldman. Draws within one. Team Asis with the Yellow Rocks holds a 4-3 lead as we go into the seventh end, running to the later part of the game here. So moving back to our feature sheet on two, Jerry St. James for Team Hurst gets set to deliver, pushes out of the hack. Jerry. We don't talk a lot about his bio information, but do want to mention that he grew up in Michigan, working multiple part-time jobs throughout high school and college. One of those jobs was landscaping, where he was tasked to move and place stones around houses, flower beds, etc. When he moved to Salt Lake City in late 2022, he had the opportunity to combine these past experiences of, of the cold and moving stones through curling. What he learned quickly was that moving stones on ice was much easier than moving them by hand or shovel. And he started curling in 2020 of this year. So looking at the house, it looks like Hurst is sitting one without the hammer as Brian Feldman Jr. makes his first here in the sixth end, calling for Chris to sweep here. We are in the sixth end. Just updating my scoreboard, talking it out. They don't do that on Fox or CBS, where it's like, oh, the Raiders scored. I need to add 3 points or 2 points and stuff. And Spangler has 5 points. So it looks like Spangler puts up another center guard. This is the sixth rock to the end, so Hurst could clear those centers or use them if they wanted to. It looks like they're going to try and tap the yellow under the center of those blues. Let's see if they got the clues. As Gerard makes his first shot here in the sixth. Uh, Ramirez calling for line. Oh, and this looks like it's going to curl. Maybe there's a gap they could get into. This is going to be pretty close. His through the gap. Is it going to sit down? It sits down. That should have been what they drew up. That was a great shot to the button there by Gerard Trimberger, uh, who, as a reward, gets another couple sentences of his bio. Embarking on odysseys across the realms of MoPac, Denver, Ogden, and the enigmatic Park City. Gerard's sole purpose to supplant all usurpers who dared to challenge his ascent. Triumph crowned him at the 2023 Camp and Curl, granting him a tantalizing taste of victory, yet the cravings for such heady triumphs proved unending, a hunger that continues to gnaw at the edges of his being. This sounds like a children's book in the making, as Brian Feldman Jr.'s net shot comes down the ice. This looks to be a play on the yellow on the wings. I think they're hoping to roll into the house, and I think they're going to be pretty close. Does get rid of that yellow. And this could also be a setup shot for Spangler later in the end, where they could hit and roll in towards the center later. But right now, Hurst is sitting one, and they have the opportunity here. Um, Curious about what's going on here. Okay, Ramin's getting set with a shot. They were just doing some cross talking, or just some friendly chatter, not cross talk, friendly banter. That's what curlers are known for. Gilbert has the room down for Gerard's second shot here. Alignment, balance, curl. David says it's light to go. I think they were going to try and draw that port again, but if it's light, there's a chance that it could crash on the guard. Actually, based on the line, it would not. But I mean, if it taps that yellow up, that could be really good for them. It does make contact. It kind of rolls to the wing there, so it really doesn't change too much in the end. It adds another front guard, kind of mucks up the front, but Spangler has a couple options. I think looking to maybe run one of the blues back onto the yellow. There's, it's a little tricky. It's about 10 feet, so it's not the biggest run back. And I know when I made my first longish run back, I was proud, but then someone pointed out like that's not that far. People can make that run back. Here's Chris Hillman with his patented uh, backswing. Now they jump on it. Now they're off. Junior is called on, and this looks like the raise, but it's going to raise it through the house. So that's kind of the downside of trying the long run back. It does kind of move the rocks around. The run back is still there for a future shot. Um, I'm curious about whether Hurst is going to try and draw that side again. I would wonder if they could maybe try and draw on the top side, the left side from the head-on view that we often use. Put one like eight, as it were, so that it minimizes the dangers of a run back, and they'd be sitting two, and then definitely really force Spangler to respond. But we are going to see the first shot coming from Ramin Gilbert. Ramin's day job is web development, but he aspires to one day make millions of dollars just by being a somewhat tall and handsome curler. I think a lot of us curlers would like to win the lottery, so we'd have a curling club, especially one as nice as San Francisco. Here's Ramin's first shot. They said it's inside, I believe, but then they could tap the yellow back towards the button. So again, that's not a bad plan B. Looks like it's going to clip the yellow and roll it in front of the blues, or roll it behind the blues. Depends on how you view it. It rolls it behind the blues. It is second shot, biting the 12 foot. It also opens a path to the button, and I think Cameron didn't waste a second to put that broom down for his vice. And I think his vice, I was hoping to cut to the vice, like pushing out of the hack, but he is set now. The interesting thing about the backslide is if you do it right, it helps you with your balance again, and also staying on that line, the alignment. The downside is if you don't do it right, it can pull you off balance, and I think that's why a lot of people don't teach it anymore. It's still an option. It's still occasionally taught, but the situation is that it's just easier to get more consistent results right away by doing the normal pull back delivery. And this is going to slip into the house, top 12 foot, out counting that second yellow, and also sets up a possible run back for Spangler to make with his last two stones in the end. So uh, Gilbert has a decision to make. It's a somewhat tricky situation. I think you could maybe do that draw again and just kind of outcount that blue on that side. Uh, and that way to also make it hard for Spangler to do the run back. They're not looking at drawing from the left side from this view, which is, I don't know. I would say it's understandable, but they're looking to clear the guard. This is an interesting call. As I've said throughout the weekend, although some of the games are not, my audio wasn't on the broadcast. There's some conventional wisdom from a podcaster from Two Girls in a Game, Mary, where you can seldom go wrong by clearing the guard, and that seems to be what they're looking at here. Um, and more power to them. Okay, they're not doing that. They are looking to draw around again through that port. There's the potential danger of wrecking on the blue, but that's not about outcome because that makes the blue run back impossible or nearly impossible. I don't want to say impossible in a lot of situations because teams like this on the ice can prove me wrong, and they've proved me wrong often. Especially for Ramin, I've played against him at the Oval. I left him at an extremely narrow port to try and shoot through, and lo and behold, he made it. But you know, when teams make the shot that good, they deserve to get that point or the win, depending on the circumstance. This is going to be a little bit up weight. Maybe they can play it to the back of the house, and it is going to go to the back of the house. Is it going to sit down? It, I think, goes just a couple inches too far. So now Hurst is sitting 1, 3, and 4, and Stephanie has the second shot and a couple pass to that shot stone on the button. So they're looking at the angle raise takeout there. Taking a peek at sheet 3, it looks like they are close to stipstones in that end. I can ask the observers really quickly. All right, so Spangler has the broom down. They're looking to draw on top of the shot stone, I believe. Uh, I'll switch quickly to the women's game just to give you a snapshot of what's happening as Jennifer Asis is about to make her first, I believe, first of two skip stones. Looking to move some rocks around because there's a lot of Feldman red in the house, two, and there's one Asis yellow on the wing there. So this is looking to get rid of one, maybe two, one, but just a single as the red jammed there. So Feldman is now sitting one. They do not have the hammer. So Aces has the hammer. And I think Feldman is looking to steal here or force Aces to one. We'll keep an eye on that and come back to it. But some interesting situation developing on two here as Cameron's shot is away. And it looks like it is hard to see. Okay, it's a little wide and heavy. So that's going to be counted as a miss as that rock goes out of play. And so Hurst has a bit of an opening here to set up a deuce at minimum and get back into this game with two ends remaining. So it looks like they're going to try the draw themselves as David Hurst gets set in the hat here. He's not set yet. He got his gripper off. Now he's getting set as he cleans his rock. Uh, Looking to sheet three. Looks like Feldman is still being set up with their shot, so we'll keep it here for now. Hurst dials back and the pitch. Looks like a pretty good line. Make sure the weight's pretty good. I think there's a concern that it might stay out a little too wide, although it's coming back. It's looking pretty good for Hurst. He needs to sit down though. So Hillman sweeps it to the back of the house, and this time it hangs around for a second shot. And so Spangler, I think, is going to try the draw again. And I think if they're able to draw on top of the yellow, I'd be happy to see the single point here. I think that's got to be the consideration for Spangler as he makes his way down the ice to the hack. Let's cut over to sheet three, where Feldman was able to Feldman was able to draw a second stone. So this is a really interesting scenario on both sheets. I wish I could do both at the same time. I mean, I could do the around the rings coverage. I don't want to. Cameron Spangler gets sets, looking for the draw here. A very important shot to either force Hurst to one or maybe set up a multiple point end for Team Hurst. So the shot's away. This looks a lot better than his last. It needs to sit down again. Sitting down, it's going to settle in the back eight. And so mission accomplished. That was a good shot by Cameron Spangler there. Definitely narrows the scoring area. Uh, the two is still on the table, but a multiple point and more than two is off the table. So while Hurst gets set for his last, lots of words, let's see what Jennifer Asis has for her last. Up one, facing two with the hammer here in the seventh. So I think they're looking to double out those reds. I think they're getting rid of one. Is it going to be two? It's the second red moving. It moves to the edge of the 8 into the 12, but not enough. And so that is a steal of one for Team Feldman. This is coming down to the wire in the women's game as it is now tied. Aces has the hammer coming home with a championship banner on the line. Both of these teams are going to Arena Nationals, which is one of the nice things about this end. Uh, Switching back to the other sheet, I do believe as they kick rocks, I think the draw for the second shot was successful. So while they clear the rocks, let's jump back to the women's game just to kind of talk about their journey, as it were, as they're tied coming home. Team Feldman has the red rocks, Team Aces has the yellow. Team Feldman is hails from one country, Asis from Silicon Valley. Asis went through round robin undefeated, 5-0, and by by the nature of the situation, if a team had uh, less than a certain number of losses, it set up the possibility of this final championship that we had. If like the champion was undefeated, and there were two teams tied with two losses. There would be a playoff between the second and third teams to see who would be second. In this case, though, there was Aces undefeated through round robin 5-0, and Feldman, who was 5-1, and a clear second place, a clear second seed. And so with that, set up this two-game final. In the first game, it was back and forth, but Feldman was able to a two, open up a five, open up a 6-4 lead in the seventh end in that game. And then Asis was forced to a single, and so Feldman won the first game, and so that set up this pivotal and decisive second women's game. Um, and it looks like the guard was put up by Aces, and it's Feldman that needs to steal the win here. So it's going to be interesting to see how the end develops. Looks like Feldman is calling for the guard, encouraging the sweepers to put up the guard, and it looks like it's going to get there, and it's going to be on the center line. And again, the no tick center line rule is in effect until the sixth rock of an end. So we'll keep an eye on this game as we get to the end here. Looking at our feature sheet, rocks are in play in the seventh end. Spangler has the hammer. Let's see here, just a couple of guards for now. And that was two for Team Hurst. So to tie things up, and they tied it up in the pivotal even ends. So that means that if they are able to hold Spangler to a single, they would have the hammer coming home and have that last advantage to try to secure the win if it comes to it. This one looks to be a little light, so it's always I giggled, but it's kind of sad to see the shoulders slump of the sweepers as they recognize that that stone is not going to make it there. Uh, Ramirez to look at it, maybe thought it might be maybe picked or something, perhaps. Uh, Here's Brian Feldman, his second shot. I think looking to draw around that corner guard that Feldman put up with his first. This looks really good. A really good draw there from Brian Feldman. Really puts the screws on Hurst to respond. And Ramin has the broom down for Gerard's first. Looking to follow Feldman down on top of that blue in the house. And this men's game is in the seventh end, so I might jump over to cover the last half of the women's game. Uh, Obviously, both games are important. This is our feature sheet. Definitely like to stay with our feature sheet when we can. But we're not TSN. We like to move around. This shot, sweepers are on it. Looks like it's just a bit in. It's starting to curl. The weight is going to be a little on the light side, so it's going to be another guard down the center line. Definitely does give her something to use later in the end, but for now, uh, the pendulum is swinging in favor of Spangler. So with the countdown clock, you can see there's about just under 21 minutes encouraged or in the recommended amount of play. So it seems like this men's game is pretty on pace, maybe a little on the slow side, but the women's game, they are playing pretty fast. And one thing that people don't realize until they get to a competitive event like nationals or even a competitive boss field is that uh, games can move fast because like once a shot is underway, the other team gets set. You can see that here as Hurst gets their stone in place. Here, they wanted to draw around. This is coming up a little, I say a little light. It might be biting. when it's all said and done. Um, is it going to get there? I think it. Nope. I say nope just based on the reaction. And then when you look at the overhead camera, that is confirmed. The sweeper shoulder slump. Oh man, I've been there. I think we've all been there. My apologies on the score. It is 5-5. There we go, 5 all. So for Gilbert, I think they're looking to tap the yellow bat. I don't think they're going to try and clear that blue just based on how the room is set up, and they want the counterclockwise. It would be outturned if you are a righty, and Gerard is a righty. This is actually going to make impact on the blue there. It's going to hit it through the house, and it's going to go out of play. Roxon play a very interesting situation. Spangler's calling for a guard now, just to protect that one blue, but definitely sets up a possible multiple point end later. Let's revisit the women's game. This is the eighth end, very pivotal end here. And also, once again, one of the nice things about this event. Oh, so it looks like Aces hit the red onto the red, and now it appears that Feldman is sitting three. So it is a tie game. Uh, Aces has a hammer. So it's Feldman that needs to steal the point for the win. Uh, there doesn't appear to be a blank. If it were to go to an extra end, we would play extra ends until the game was resolved. Uh, everyone's Sunday evening plans be darned. Uh, but it looks like Feldman's yelling for sweepers. It's coming up a little, looks pretty good. Feldman rushes up to help. I think they wanted to make sure it draws on top, like a corner freeze would be good, and that is what they get. Just a little taption there, tap action, and just a pretty exciting end unfolding here. I think both of these championship games have been really good, and my thanks to all the teams for their participation in this event, and also for helping with the ice. San Francisco has an ice crew, but they asked for some help, kind of mopping and picking up snow, and so our teams were asked, and they were happy to pitch in both the ice and also kind of keeping the warm room hospitality area in tidy order. Um, so I think it's been really great. My thanks to all the volunteers from the teams who were sort of voluntold to do it, but I appreciate it. Our committee appreciates it. And once again, volunteers are the lifeblood of our organization. Um, I saw someone running, but it's on the neighboring sheet. Uh, Asis is, I think, still kind of looking over what their possibilities are here. Getting a little late in the end, uh, as this is the third Julie Wolf's turn. She's waiting for the call. Looks like Jennifer Asis is talking it over with the lead, also vice, Jacqueline Pitlars. It's a tricky situation. They could go in now. They're facing three, but it's whoever's scoring at the end that wins this game. So I think they're looking to go in now. Could also look to maybe go to the wings. There's also two ways to access the center of the house. They could try and go around the wide way, or go down the center. I think the center looks pretty good, especially because there's some cover there, and Feldman couldn't really hit those blue, couldn't hit uh, aces out without, having to clear those two reds in front. But here is Julie's delivery. I think looking to clear some rocks, which is also not a bad call. I said clear some rocks. Actually, they were, I think, drawing to the wing as I thought as a possible shot. Uh, it turns out to be a corner guard. So we'll see if Aces is going to be able to use it, although Feldman is looking to use it first. And actually, it's not a bad call. If you look at the storing house, if they were to put a red kind of behind the guard that was just put up, that blocks off the paths to the house, to the center of the house. I'm sorry. I think my allergies came in when I came down from Utah. So Feldman is holding a lot of the options here. Let's take a peek on sheet two just to see how the end is unfolding. It's a tied game. I'll switch there quickly. So on our feature game, it's Hurst with the yellow rocks, Spangler with the blues. There's now no rock in the house. And Hillman, I think, is going to try and draw, maybe tap the blue that's just outside the house into towards the center of the button, into the house towards the center. This looks pretty good. It might be over curling as they are trying to hold the line. Actually, it's going to be around the center guard. So now how far they're going to be able to get it, and it's not going to be enough. It's going to settle as another guard near the center there. And so now Gilbert tells his lead, Jerry St. James, to kind of look to tap the yellow back. Um, it's interesting how they hold the broom. They hold the broom on the tee line, which is usually common for people with doing draws and guards. You normally want to put it near the rock you want to hit for takeouts or raises. So interesting. Let's check in on the other sheet as the stone is coming down from the third for Feldman. This is going to be, I think, a slight miss in the book. This does open up the door a little bit for Aces to perhaps hit and roll undercover or hit and roll to the wing. There's now the opportunity is towards Aces. Also recognizing that Aces has a hammer. She has the last chance to make a difference in this end. On sheet two, the raise attempt was made and successful as the Hurst stone is promoted to the back 12 foot, well covered. So keep an eye on both games. So just again, as a reminder on this sheet, Feldman is playing with red rocks. Aces is playing with yellows. We are tied. Aces has the hammer coming home. And we're seeing the first of two skip stones coming from Aces. So I think they're looking to do that hit and roll. It's not high heat. It's going to be gentle takeout weight, probably backline or hack. They just want to move that red to the side and have enough energy to roll under the center, those center rocks. So this looks pretty good. So it's going to make the hit, and then they want a slight roll, and that slight roll was not there. So now we're coming down to the last two rocks of this game. We're going to keep the action here, keep the camera on this action because this is where the action is. So Feldman could hit that yellow rock out of the way, and provided that it doesn't jam on those reds in the back, Aces can't nose hit that red for the win because there's so many other red rocks in the way. And then also the draw, like there's Aces really can't have an easy draw because it would block the draw path. So it looks like the hit is the move there. Uh, it looks like on sheet two, the men's game, that Spangler was able to do a raise of their own, and so they're sitting shots just based on the camera. So the question is, how does Hurst respond? And looks like they're going to try the raise again on their side of the ice. Katie Feldman makes her way down the ice. Both of these teams are seasoned skips, seasoned players all around. Katie Feldman Started curling in 2014 and has twice won bronze at Arena Nationals. She's going to get her next chance in November. She loves doubles curling, winning the MoPac doubles event in 2019. She also loves Taylor Swift, going to Bonspiels, walking her new puppy Sheldon, and people named Brian, which is fair because she has two people in her life named Brian, her husband and son, and they are also both going to nationals. Her last shot's away here. Let's see if she's going to be able to get rid of that yellow stone and not jam. It's going to just crash on the red in the back, but the yellow rolls away. And so now it is Feldman sitting five. There is no easy path down the center. There are paths on the wings for Jennifer Asis to draw to the full 8 foot for the win. And it's kind of tricky with the rainbow pattern to see where the 8 foot ring is, but it's the inside of the green band. And it's definitely cool to see some of these patterns in the ice. They had some fundraisers for some of the sheets, and they also kind of had some sheets to recognize the causes that the club supports, including on this sheet, LGBTQ plus issues and La Liga Latina de Curling. So it's a fun club. I haven't been able to get on the ice. I hope to one day. And this is Jennifer Aces's last, a draw to the 8 foot for the win and the championship. So it sounds like the swoopers were called on. There's a little bit of backing they could bring into play here. This looks pretty good. It's going to be close, and it rolls just a little bit, I think, towards the outside. So again, the rings are going to, I think, cause a little bit of a problem. I think they might want to take a closer look at it. It looks red to me, just based on just I don't know. It's hard to say. It looked red to me, but they are calling for a measure. The most exciting measuring device in all sports. We're going to bring out the pressure sensor as our head ice official Kevin Jorgensen makes his way to the ice. They hit stones. It comes down to a measure. We were talking earlier about just how coming down to a measure was essentially a tiebreaker for group play in the men's division, and I can understand how some people feel like it's more of a skill to be eliminated based on just how like a skill thing, like like a free throw contest or something like that. But in a situation like this, I think it's exciting. It's like who is going to have the edge here? Both of these teams are going to Arena Nationals. This is for the privilege and honor of being a MoPac region champion, the chance to raise a banner in their club, to add some curling color to the hockey ice arenas where they come from. Again, Team Aces from Silicon Valley down in Fremont in the Bay Area, and one country from Skate Town in Roseville, just outside Sacramento. Uh, Here we go. So Kevin is getting set. Again, in a situation like this, the vices oversee the measure or conduct the measure depending on the circumstance. So yellow has been measured. Here we go around the rings. It looks red. Is it going to be? Who is it going to be? It's red. So by the thinnest of margins, Team Feldman has taken down Team Aces for the first ever MoPac region champion for Arena Nationals. Both teams are going to Arena Nationals, but a hard-fought game. I think they're going to see a lot of hard contests when they go to Evelyn, Minnesota in November. So this was a good experience, I hope. And congratulations to both, but a special congratulations go to Team Feldman for securing this first ever MoPac region arena playdown banner. All right, let's shift back to two, where they finished the end. Okay, well, it was awesome to see the women's game end, and now we can catch up with the men. It looks like Hurst was held to a single in the last, which I think they had to fight for that because Spangler was sitting shot when we last left them. So both games are coming down to the wire. I'm glad I'm here. For the people at home, I'm glad you've tuned in. I hope you stick with us as we bring you the final rocks here. We have Jerry St. James throwing his last stone. Uh, Interesting to see if it's on target. I saw him stand up, and that's kind of thrown me for a loop. But that doesn't necessarily mean his delivery was off. And so we have a center guard. So again, Hurst is up by one. It is 6-5. So I was right, just an end early on the score, as we are now in the eighth end. And again, Spangler has the hammer, and we're going to see Brian Feldman deliver his first stone. There is a round of applause for Team Feldman as they enter the warm room. A hard-fought contest all around. It was a good long weekend for both teams, and uh, it's uh, it's always fun to be here. It's even more fun to be on the ice. So Brian Feldman's been curling for 9 years. He's able to get around that corner guard, partially buried. He notes as a fun fact, when asked for input on strategy, he always asks, quote, "What if we throw it really, really, really hard?" Which as a lead, well, okay, he might be asking that question not for lead rocks because leads really don't have to throw high heat most of the time. I play lead a lot. It's my favorite position, although I also skip. Um, I had to throw a couple peels, and that's the most I've had to throw as lead. So just again to reset, we have Team Hurst from the Oval Curling Club with the Yellow Rocks hailing out of the Oval Curling Club out of Utah. We just changed our name. We simplified it. We used to be the Utah Olympic Oval Curling Club, but there was a kind of a request to remove Olympic from the name just for, I think, intellectual property reasons. Like, I don't think the IOC sued us or anything, but just like, hey, maybe remove Olympic from the name. So we've done it. We are the Oval Curling Club. We're in the process of rebranding and hopefully kind of showing to the other MoPac clubs what our club can do. And we're definitely seeing that here from a very new rink in the form of Team Hurst. Definitely kudos to them for making it to this final and getting a ticket to Arena Nationals. We're also seeing Team Cameron Spangler out of Wine Country Curling Club out of Skate Town in Roseville, California. It's I was going to say it's a town so nice they named it Skate. I don't know if that works. What did work was that last throw there. Kind of wrecks a little on the Yellowstone, rolls to the center a little open. And so now for Gerard Trimberger, he has a chance to double those two stones out, or at least get rid of one of those blues. I know I say, there's a double there, and doubles are often a great outcome, but sometimes you just need to get rocks out of play. David's coming down the ice to talk it over with Ramin. Maybe there's a question about the ice or where the rocks ended up. I didn't quite see what might have led to this conversation. So that was brief though, and so David makes his way back down the ice for Gerard's first here, looking for some heat. Uh, it could overcurl and clear the guard. That's not a bad outcome. Here we go. Looks like a pretty good release. Looking to hold the line though. I think it's a little tight. We'll see how it goes. It looks really good. It's going to get one and only one, but that blue is still exposed for a potential second attempt. I think Cameron needs one to tie, two for the win. So it looks like he's trying to set up a multiple point end here. Not a bad call. So, shifting cameras, this should be Brian Feldman Jr.'s shot here as the broom is on for nose hit on the yellow that's on the left side of the sheet from this view. I think the nose or a little roll towards the center is not too bad. This looks like it's going to hit and it's going to roll towards the center. Really good. It's going to freeze right on top of that shot stone. So uh, Gilbert has to make a play on it, but he's likely only going to get one of those blues out of play. So shots away. This is Gerard's second. I think they're looking to bump, do it like a bump bump, as it were. Uh, line's pretty good. Going to get one. Have the shooter roll to the wing in the 12 foot. So kind of moving some of the rocks around. And now it looks like Spangler's looking at the other side of the ice. I think looking to hit and roll towards the center perhaps, or there's a possible double there. They might be lining up the double, which would be what someone would describe as a great shot. So he's got the broom down for Brian Feldman Jr. The clock says we're out of time, but that is just an advisory. People can finish out the game. If it comes to an extra end, we can play the extra end. And here we go with Brian Feldman's second shot. Can he do it again? This looks pretty good. It's going to get one. It's going to roll towards, and oh goodness. So I think it was a good effort. I think ultimately it was probably a little light to get both yellows through the house, especially given how high they were towards the top of the house. That means they had to move up to 12 feet to move through the house out of play. So I would maybe rank that shot a 2 out of 4, maybe a 1 out of 4, depending on how harshly someone might judge promoting the opponent's stone towards the button. It cleared things up. Blue is still controlling a lot of the front of the house, but it is yellow that is shot. So uh, I'll be back in just a moment. I think a photo is being called for, so I shall return. Okay, welcome back. Returning to the action. It looks like they're looking to put up a guard. Needs to make sure it gets over the hog line. Is it gonna get there? It does. So instead of the shoulder slump of the sweeps, they're able to hold their shoulders up high as they were able to make that guard. It's definitely makes it more complicated for Team Spangler, but it is far from over. So I think that yellow, it's because it's on the right side of the button, the bottom of the button from this view. I think they're going to try and make a draw to it to maybe tap it back and then be sitting one or more, uh, or maybe try something else. They're calling for hack weight, so they're not calling for the like a draw. They're calling to move that yellow out of the way. And this is going to be Chris Hillman as he's cleaning his rock. Rock cleanliness is of utmost importance. Um, you know the phrase, you want to keep a clean house. It's also important to keep your playing materials clean. Um, so Hillman just said, I think they're looking for hack weight. So they're looking to tap the shot stone bat and have blue sit one or more as Hillman gets underway. So we have the champions in our broadcast area. So hopefully the noise is not too bad. This looks like it wrecked on something. Oh, so it didn't wreck. It just was a little wide apparently. So just kind of dosey doed around that yellow. And so now uh, Jerry St. James has the broom down for Skip Gilbert. Um, Holding the broom, wanting to put that guard up maybe a little tighter, and just obviously an important shot here. Uh, you don't necessarily want to put in a second counter at this point. My apologies. We'll stick with this dramatic view of the house. Looking to draw here, draw a guard. I think kind of parallel to where that other yellow is on the right guard zone. If they put it on the left line, that would be probably a good outcome. This rock looks pretty good. And this looks pretty much like I thought it might end up. I think it looks good for how they drew it up. Some fist bumps were exchanged between the teammates as they moved to the sideboards there. And so now Spangler has a lot to think about. Like, how do you get to the button? There's a lot of center guards or guards down the center paths here. Um, let's look at the overhead. And for all of you watching at home, we definitely appreciate you tuning in. I also get feedback from the players who, kind of note that their loved ones are able to tune in. I'm sure the curlers on the ice definitely appreciate the fact that you guys at home are able to watch, kind of uh, how, how their loved ones do. So it looks like Spangler wants to clear some of these rocks to at least have a chance for the button here. And a tough situation for Team Spangler. Not impossible as uh, Chris Hillman makes his shot. So they're sweeping at it. So it's going to clear one of the yellows, but it's going to run the yellow into the house to the wing where it's not going to be much of a factor. Um, it is fourth shot. Those blues are now in play for now. And so, kind of the question is, what does Hurst do to neutralize that potential advantage that Spangler has? So, team had a quick confab. They're making their way back down the ice, and it looks like they've dialed up a guard. I think discretion being the better part of valor, as the phrase goes. Just put up a guard, force Spangler to take out that guard. As we are now in stipstones, it's coming down again to the wire. This is, I think, some of the best uh, curling, the best final scenario that we could ask for. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to everyone. Uh, curling is a fun sport, and I'm definitely glad to be able to share in it and to share it with others. As David Hurst makes his first throwing, I think a guard. I think he wants to keep it high, but on the line, being tight could set up angles for Spangler to make a run back. This also is a situation where it needs to be in the right position. So the line is the most important part compared to how it goes or how deep it goes. And I would have to say that's as close as you could probably get it. That's another great shot from Team Hurst, the first from David. And so now it is Team Spangler's time to talk it out between the entire team. So that's kind of the situation from over their shoulder. Um, there could be a very narrow path through the guards. There is a possible raise on the right side. Um, if they hit the red, sorry, if they hit the blue, there's no red rocks on the sheet. I'm not colorblind. Uh, I think they might be looking at what I thought I saw, where if you hit the top blue, the right blue from the over the shoulder angle, if you hit the right blue, you might be able to raise it towards the button. And if you tap it on the yellow and move the yellow enough, it would be blue sitting shot, and that would be enough for the tie to force the extra end. So I think they're done talking about it. I think they are going for a draw of some sort. They're not set up for a hit as Cameron Spangler makes his way back down to the away side of the ice, giving it a look there. I don't know. I thought they might be doing a draw. They could be throwing heat at this. This could be a shot where maybe they feel like they need to move something around to have a shot for his last. As it is right now, Spangler needs to be in a position to score one or it's game over. That didn't work the way I wanted. The shot's away. Okay, he is throwing. I say he's throwing heat, but I don't know if it is heat. I think it's the draw through the narrow gap. Is it going to get through that gap? It's going to be close, but it's going to wreck. But not a bad outcome. Not a bad outcome because it does open up that path to the Blues in the house, setting up a potential raise. And uh, I that maybe why they drew it up that way. If that red shooter rolled to the left side or the bottom side from this view. So now there's two paths to the button. So uh, I think Ramin and Team Hurst is going to block that uh, path on the right side, the top side again, and then really force Spangler to do that angle raise, um, which is not impossible, and that would give uh, Spangler the win. This is a very tough situation. I wonder if there's a way that they could find a way to just force the single points and take out those blues out of consideration. I don't know. David Hurst makes his way back down the ice. They're up one, sitting one, but Spangler is creating a dangerous scenario here. Um, I think looking for the guard just to block off the easy path that Spangler just threw, or very similar to what Spangler just threw. And again, it's where the stone is placed that is most important. A miss here would open the door for Spangler to secure the win. It's curling, but it needs to make sure it gets over the line. and it's going to be over the line, and it looks like it's in a pretty good position as they let it kind of coast to a finish, kind of in the boundary between the first and second guard zones. And so now uh, Spangler is looking at what his options are, and both options are still open. Honestly, I think you could approach it from the left side from this view, and it's closer, or you could attack it from the right side with the blue that's on, in the guard zone on the right, and approach it from there. But that's a much further shot. That looks to be about 9 feet from the overhead view. Um, but it might be a better angle, perhaps. You have more, maybe more chances for success. Um, they're looking at kind of both possibilities, I believe. As you can see, Spangler kind of just gestured towards the angle raise on the top side or the left side from the view. And so this is a look at how things are from over the shoulder. And oh, they're also looking at the in off. That's also a possibility. That's awesome. It's really great when teams see things that I might not be seeing. So maybe considering the in off, let's see how it might look from the overhead. That's pretty thin. It could it could roll over the top of the yellow. It could also, I mean, I think they're ideally looking for, if they do the in off, they're looking for it to hit, the inside of the yellow on the bottom of the screen, and then roll towards the shot stone yellow in the center. I don't know if people at home are seeing anything that the teams on the ice, or I might not be seeing. Uh, Definitely looking to do the angle raise, I believe. Although the stone is next to the stone for the in off, just kind of based on where they have the broom. I think uh, they're looking at the yellow. So the broom is down, looking for the in off. It's a very thin in off, but it's going to be for uh, at least a tie, maybe the win, depending on how far back that yellow goes, the yellow shot stone goes. Again, a high risk, but the reward is the highest that we have to offer. It could be a championship, an opportunity to raise the banner at Rose Country Curling Club, Wine Country Curling Club. Uh, that's not the right view. So Cameron gets set. His shots away here with the last. Looking to move some granite, needing to move, looking for the in off. So he hits it pretty close to the nose. It rolls to the outside. It's Hurst that steals the point and secures the win. From Hurst to first, Team Hurst from Oval Curling Club. They are your 2023 MoPac Men's Arena Playdown champions. Congratulations to them, and congratulations to Cameron Spangler and his rink. What a hard fought contest by both teams. And like I said, for the women's game, I believe it will suit them well as they move on to Arena Nationals in early November in Eveleth, Minnesota. That's Curl Masabi. So what a great game. It came down to the wire. Both games did, the men's and the women's games. Just to recap, you just watched the finish of Team Hurst securing a 7-5 win against Team Spangler of Wine Country Curling Club. There's some applause for the teams as they get ready to go off the ice. In the women's field, it was Team Feldman that stole the victory from Wine Country over Team Asis of Silicon Valley Curling. And kudos again to all four teams and all 16 teams and the men's and women's field uh, for what a great competition. And when we set out to set up this event, we knew that the best way to determine the champions of our region was to have it as a contest on the ice. And so, congratulations to everyone who is here. Thanks again to our hosts, the San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club. We will be back here in early January for mixed teams playdowns. And then we're also going to make a stop in December at Coyotes Curling Club in Phoenix, Arizona for the men's and women's club playdowns. That's open to all clubs in our region, not just arena ice. So, for all of us here, what more to say? Thank you again so much for everyone for tuning in. It's been a great weekend. I'm sort of losing my voice, but I lost my voice at the best time with this last game. So, congratulations to teams Hurst and Feldman as they take a photo. For all of us here at MoPac and the San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club, this has been your host, Ryan Olson, for the last time saying so long and good curling.